Hello friends. Today we will study about the general scheme of the parasympathetic ganglia of the head. There are four parasympathetic ganglia in head and neck: otic ganglia, submandibular ganglia, pterygopalatine ganglia, and ciliary ganglia. When you consider these four parasympathetic ganglia with the basic scheme, they are same. The peripheral nervous system has two components: somatic and autonomic. Somatic nerves are the nerves we can feel with and we can control the skeletal muscle. But the autonomic nervous system, as the name indicates, is considered to be impossible to control. So basically, the autonomic nervous system is involuntary in its function, motor to the exocrine glands and smooth muscles of our body. The autonomic nervous system also has some sensory fibers passing through, but we are unable to localize this sensation. It usually is perceived as a referred pain, as if we are experiencing from a somatic nerve. Autonomic nervous system is again having two parts: sympathetic and parasympathetic. When you consider these two parts of the autonomic nervous system, they are antagonistic in action. For example, if one parasympathetic is secretomotor, when they promote secretion of a gland, the sympathetic is secreto-inhibitory. They reduces the secretion. Similarly, when they act on a sphincter, if the parasympathetic relax a sphincter, the sympathetic constrict a sphincter. The autonomic nervous system has some ganglia associated, same for sympathetic as well as parasympathetic, and there are some nerves associated with these ganglia, and there are some nerves which are connecting this ganglia with the central nervous system, brain or spinal cord. When you take this sympathetic ganglia, they are seen as a chain of ganglia on either side of your vertebral column, starting from the base of the skull till the sacrum. The parasympathetic nerves are confined to some selected cranial nerves and some nerves arising from the region of sacrum. Sympathetic ganglia are seen as a chain connected by vertical fibers of nerves. The parasympathetic ganglia is seen relatively near the structure that it is supplying. We focus on the parasympathetic. These are the four parasympathetic ganglia in the head and neck. Components of parasympathetic nervous system are three in number: nucleus, the part of the gray matter of the brain which is abundant collection of cell bodies of neurons. The other is cortex. You might have heard cerebral cortex and cerebellar cortex. So similarly, this is a parasympathetic nucleus. If you take any of this ganglia, there will be a nucleus associated with that particular parasympathetic ganglia, and there will be a specific name for this nucleus for each of these associated nucleus. Usually that arises from the brainstem. Nerves associated with. Nerves are the collection of nerve fibers. They are very less in quantity, and they cannot make their own nerves to get out from the central nervous system and reach this specific ganglia. There will be ganglia associated. That ganglia, these four ganglia. Now we will start with the scheme of the ganglia that you are waiting for. Let us consider this is a parasympathetic ganglia. I'm not naming it. And here, for example, is a gland, an exocrine gland, and here the brainstem, midbrain, pons, and medulla. I'm taking a nucleus here. That is a nucleus specifically associated with this particular ganglia. That nucleus is having hundreds of cell bodies of neurons associated with that parasympathetic ganglia. That is a cell body of neuron. The nerve fibers are not in large quantity to form a nerve and reach the ganglia which is placed far away. So our body has a shortcut for that. There are numerous cranial nerves arising from the brainstem. Some branches of some cranial nerves may be reaching near that ganglia. So now nerve fiber arising from this nucleus enters the cranial nerve nearby the nucleus. It travels through the cranial nerve. Remember that do not have any functional correlation with that particular cranial nerve. And now you can see that that cranial nerve is going in a different direction. Our ganglia is in that direction. So this finds another nerve or a branch of this nerve, and it enters that nerve or the branch of that first nerve. It doesn't matter in which direction the nerve is going. When it reaches near that ganglia, it enters the ganglia and relays that. It is not relaying, it is not breaking in any of these lengths from beginning to end in the ganglia. Now this neuron, which is before the ganglia, part of the parasympathetic nerve system, is named as a preganglionic parasympathetic neuron because this is a motor neuron and the impulse is coming in this direction from the nucleus to the ganglia. There are numerous cell bodies located in fact, ganglia is a collection of cell bodies of neurons outside the central nervous system and representing one cell body of a neuron. Generally, the parasympathetic ganglia is relatively placed near the structure that it is supplying, but it may not be very close. This neuron finds a nerve nearby the ganglia which is passing by the structure. So it enters the nerve, passes through the nerve, it exits the nerve and supplies the structure. Again, remember that neuron is not breaking anywhere in its course. If the structure is much close to the ganglia, it may not pass to a nerve. It may directly enter the structure as you see in the submandibular gland. This neuron, which passes after the ganglia, is named as the postganglionic parasympathetic neuron. So this is preganglionic parasympathetic neuron and that is a postganglionic parasympathetic neuron. When you learn these four ganglia, you have to name this nucleus. You have to name whichever nerve it is passing through. Most importantly, how it is reaching the ganglia. When you say the postganglionic parasympathetic neuron, you have to specify if it is passing through any nerve, name that nerve. Or, in fact, you have to say how it is reaching the structure that it is supplying. The next component is sympathetic. There is a large fusiform shaped ganglia on either side of the neck, and that is the beginning of the sympathetic chain. There are three basic ganglia you can see in the cervical region. All these three ganglia are connected by vertical nerve fibers connecting each other. That is the T1 spinal segment. From there arises the cell body of one neuron located in the T1 segment. The nerve fiber of it enters the sympathetic ganglia. It ascends through the sympathetic chain, reaches the superior cervical sympathetic ganglia and relays that. That neuron is before that nucleus where it is relaying. It's a part of the sympathetic nerve system. That is why it is named as the preganglionic sympathetic neuron. It begins from the T1 segment, enters the chain and reaches the superior cervical sympathetic ganglia. That is a cell body of another neuron. The similar neurons forms that superior cervical sympathetic ganglia, representing one cell body that we call as postganglionic sympathetic neuron. Now the question is, how this neuron get from here to that structure through this ganglia? The body has a solution for it. The solution is a big tree-like structure which is growing up and branching. This is the carotid artery. The common carotid artery, the internal carotid artery, and this is the external carotid artery. The external carotid artery runs and branches outside the skull, also supplies the meninges. The internal carotid artery enters the cranial cavity by passing through a foramen at the base of the skull, and it supplies mainly the brain. The postganglionic sympathetic nerve fibers together form nerve-like structure. They give two nerve plexus, one around the internal carotid artery and another around the external carotid artery, and these are named as carotid plexus. And this plexus follows the branch of the artery. It reaches the ganglia but do not relay in the ganglia. It just passes through and it enters the structure that it is going to supply. Sometimes it may arise directly and supply if the structure is close to the ganglia. The third component is sensory. The sensory fibers usually arises from the capsule if it is a gland. It passes from the structure, enters the ganglia, it passes through the ganglia without relaying, reaches the cranial nerve and passes through the cranial nerve. So there are three components. This is sensory, preganglionic parasympathetic, and that is postganglionic parasympathetic, and this is sympathetic, and this is sensory. So this three components. Now if you see this general scheme in these three headings, parasympathetic, sympathetic and sensory, it is going to be easy for you. Thank you.